Tonight, evacuated to safety, but it wasn't enough. Coronavirus turns deadly in our own backyard. Why flu shots this season are more important than ever. The new traffic offence that will cost you half your licence in one go. But can police prove your guilt? Beach and bollards, the worrying sign of the times, taking over Bondi. A cruise with heart. Weary fire heroes finally have a holiday. Plus the NRL trials take their toll. A Tiger star in doubt for round one.
This is 9 News with Peter Overton.
Good evening. Coronavirus has turned deadly in Australia. We've recorded the first death from the disease since its outbreak 8 weeks ago. The 78-year-old West Australian man was being treated at a Perth hospital when he succumbed to the virus. It comes as a fourth Victorian, a man in his 70s, has tested positive for coronavirus today. While here in New South Wales, a fifth case has also been confirmed. A man in his 40s diagnosed after returning from Iran.
He arrived for help with his wife close behind, but now she's in a Perth hospital alone, grieving for her 78-year-old husband.
Obviously our condolences are with his family, and unfortunately he's the first death we've had from coronavirus in Australia.
The couple was among 170 Australians rescued from the Diamond Princess cruise ship in Japan. He was in intensive care after becoming infected on board. His wife tested positive this week.
His wife remained stable. She had the opportunity to obviously talk to him prior to his death. She's obviously understandably quite upset.
Today, a Victorian Diamond Princess passenger was also confirmed to have the virus. He'd been in isolation in Darwin, but other cases have left the community exposed.
We have had 2 cases in the last 3 weeks identified in the general community, both from Iran.
One of those, a New South Wales man in his 40s who tested positive overnight, just hours after the government announced a travel ban for Iran. As the death toll rises in the Middle Eastern country, protesters are fighting fear with fire, setting a quarantine clinic alight.
Of the 106 deaths that are reported outside of China, 43 of those have been in Iran, so that's the highest number of deaths.
Back home, a special clinic has been set up on the Gold Coast, where a beautician fell ill at work after returning from Iran.
It is a clinic specifically for people with suspected coronavirus.
Health experts say it's likely the virus will spread in the community within the next 3 to 6 months. But in around 80% of cases, it's expected to be mild.
This disease may be occurring during or soon after the flu season, and we would strongly recommend people consider getting a flu vaccine this year.
Fiona Willan, 9 News.
And the latest Victorian patient to contract the virus has this afternoon landed in Melbourne. 9 News cameras were there as the man, aged in his 70s, arrived at Tullamarine Airport, greeted by a cavalry of emergency workers. The patient was flown in from Darwin, where he'd been quarantined alongside Australia's first fatal coronavirus case after travelling on board the infected Diamond Princess cruise ship. Meantime, the United States has confirmed its first death from coronavirus. The man from Washington state had not been in contact with an infected person or travelled to a high-risk area. Thailand today also confirming its first fatality.